Hello friends, welcome to TM7 Adventures. Lisa here. We're going to make another amazing recipe you need to have on hand when you need a quick dinner, lunch, visitors turn up, you just want to fill the freezer. These are the things you can do with this recipe. So we're going to go straight to start cooking. I'm going to make it gluten-free today as well. So if you are gluten-free, this is really handy to know that you can easily just swap this in. And we're going to start straight away with Gruyere cheese. Now don't let that put you off. I'm just using Parmesan. There's been times when I've just used tasty cheese. Use what you've got, okay? Do not let that stop you making a dish. I would never actually, I don't think I've ever bought Gruyere cheese. I've always just used Parmesan. There's that little line. Oh, I love it when I'm that close. Next, we're gonna grate it. So 10 seconds, speed 7, lid on, press the play button. Oh, I beat it to it, there it goes. Okay, next we're going to now transfer to a bowl and set aside. You can see how grated that is. I love the grate on the Thermomix. Now this becomes the topping on your Quiche Lorraine. If you have ever thought, oh my gosh, it must be so hard, I'm about to show you how incredibly simple this is. Okay, next, preheat your oven to 180. Grease and flour a quiche tin. I'm actually going to show you how we can do that a little different. We need to add 75 grams of butter. Now I haven't actually weighed this, as you can tell. There we go. So that one's good. Now I'm going to add 150 grams of plain flour, and I said I was doing gluten-free. Okay, preferably cold butter. Mine is not overly cold, but I got a bit distracted prepping for today, so here's what it is. If it's not cold, it just gets a little harder to work with. Not impossible, but just a little harder. So if you eat not gluten-free, you're obviously just using plain flour. Then we're going for 150 grams. Okay, next up we have some salt. So this is pastry we're making, okay? So what is it? Half a teaspoon of salt and 150 grams of water. Just grab my kettle. It's not hot. You would not want to put hot water into this. It would make that butter melt, and we don't want that. So I'm going for pretty close. And now we're going to mix this together. So next, on with the lid, and it's got 20 seconds, speed 4. And while that's going, I'm just going to grab my quiche container out. I forgot to grab. Alrighty, I'm just grabbing a spatula. Any spatula do. I'd love to be able to use my TM7 one, but it's in the dishwasher. Hopefully you can't hear my dishwasher going in the background. So now it says transfer your pastry onto a silicone mat. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show you a little cheat. We are going to use baking paper today. We've got 2 sheets, 2 squares. This means you can have this cooked and out of the oven and ready to serve in like half an hour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mix here. For the moment, I'm just going to put it on the center of this for later. Actually, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to try and make sure I use that bit around the side. Just incorporate it in a little bit. Don't want it to go to waste. So let's get this out. Now, I don't have to clean, well, I don't usually clean and dry my mixing bowl, so I won't be doing that today. Can't remember what the recipe actually says. It's been too long since I've read it through properly. Take most of it out, though, because it's going to become your beautiful quiche base. Let's go next. Use a pastry. Now, it's telling us to roll it out now. There's a really great time coming up in the recipe where you can actually do this. So just leave it, okay? We'll come back to this in a minute. It says clean and dry mixing bowl. I never do. Okay, bacon. You want to put some bacon or some ham in at this step to cook off. So I've got 200 grams. I'm actually going to just use 150 grams because that's the little side on my packet. Then I need some oil. Oops, ticked the wrong thing. That's okay. Some oil in there. I didn't even tear the scales then, but that's okay. Go next. I make this so often, just not following the recipe very closely. As you can see, let's saute that off. And now then is the perfect time to do the pastry. Okay, now let me wiggle you back. I love how quiet that is. By the way, just a little FYI, did you know that this silver button underneath is your emergency stop? If I'm midway through a recipe, I can push the pause, but if I can't see that, I can push the silver and it'll stop. Okay, here we go. This is my little ball of dough. I'm just going to push it together, use my baking paper into a rough circle, because whatever we start with is kind of what we're going to end up with. All right, we need our second bit of baking paper. Put it on top, give it a push down, and then grab your rolling pin. Now I've got a silicone rolling pin, so I like this because I can just roll it out with it. Literally, roll it in circles. Follow it around until it's as big as I want it to be. Now, sometimes this dough is so sticky, say you are a little heavy on the water, that you'll actually want to cook this first with the layers on. Now, traditionally pastry is cooked. They blind bake it, but this recipe doesn't call for that. Some people preference doing that. I don't bother. But if it's sticky, because I've overdone that water, the cheats method is you put it into the hot oven, the 180-degree oven, both baking paper sheets still on, just for 5 minutes, and then you'll be able to peel the top layer of baking paper off. So that's a little cheat. Now I'm just pushing this all the way out, making a rough circle that fits in my quiche dish at the back. Now, if you don't have a quiche dish, a high-sided cake tin will do fine. Preferably circular, because otherwise you've got to try and roll out a rectangle. But, you know, if you're up for that challenge of a rectangle, go for it. Alrighty. Around we go with these, all the way around. Just pushing it to make it somewhat smooth. For me, I'm not a great cook without a Thermomix. I have no cooking skill. So when I can make these amazing things so easily with a Thermomix, it just blows my mind. So I don't really care so much about what it looks like. So this is what I mean now. So it goes from here into here. We give it a little push down. Make sure the hot sides are high enough to go up and support our egg soon. If it's not, just take it out and roll it a bit further. And this is where we then look at those previous steps where they said poke it with a fork, but you do also want to check that it's going to come off the baking paper, yeah? So, there we go, look at that. Can you see it coming off beautifully? So even though I'm working with gluten-free, which is a little more finicky, it's coming off fine. Now you can recycle your baking paper for next time. Just wipe it off and use it again if you'd like. But look at that. Perfect. Now I need to grab, I don't have a fork, just use my knife. Just lets the air out of it so you don't end up with a big air bubble in the center. And just like that, perfect timing. So we've cooked off that bacon. How cool is it that it cooks off? How do I get you back? Little further forward. Cooks off while we make the pastry. I love that. So it says to drain this bacon. I find it doesn't need draining, so I don't worry about that. Maybe you want to add some other bits and pieces to the bacon. Maybe you'd put some sun-dried tomatoes or some onion. So now I'm just putting this straight into that casing. I don't want to leave it sit here too long, and I don't want to sit it in a big pile. It will melt the butter, but for the couple of seconds it's going to be there. It's no big drama. Let me just show you what I've done. Okay. All right, next. Transfer the bacon and set aside. So it wanted me to put it in a bowl. We don't like to waste bowls when we don't need to. Okay, 4 eggs. Check. Now, little tip on the next one. I'm going to put, I don't buy creme fraiche. What even is that? I don't know. So I'm going to use just cream, and I'm going to do both of the portions in cream, both the milk and the creme fraiche. Now, just a little tip as well. For many years, I used coconut cream in this recipe instead of both of those ingredients, and it worked perfectly fine. I still did the pastry with butter, but coconut cream, I mean, it leaves a coconutty flavor, but it worked fine. So that is the milk and the creme fraiche. I've also done it with yogurt, lots of different things. Now, salt. You want to take this dish to the next level? Your veggie stock is how you do it. Doesn't need much, just under half a teaspoon. Don't go heavy, otherwise it's too salty. And then, of course, your pepper. Okay, 2 pinches of pepper. So we're just going to let the Thermomix do the job of mixing this through for us. And can you believe it? This is going into the oven. We're done. It took us, what, a whole of like 3 minutes, and that was me talking as well to get this done. This is why this recipe needs to be on your list of things you just know how to do and you can whip up easily with your Thermomix, because it is crazy simple, especially when you know how to do it through baking with the baking paper. Save yourself some washing up, you know, those sorts of things as well. My goodness. All right. If you want to know what comes next, arrange the bacon cubes, sprinkle with the cheese, 180 degrees to 30 to 35 minutes, okay? So serve warm or cold. Look at that, mix through. Beautiful. That flour was off the lid, by the way. So straight now into the casing. Just making sure I pour it all around. I know you can't see me. You'll just have to trust me that I'm pouring it not onto my bench, but all into the quiche container. Remember to use your pre-cleans at the end of these. Now there's a bit of build-up on the bottom. When you've got build-up on the bottom, the best thing to reach for is some vinegar. Now the build-up is because I left the flour in there. I'm not too worried. But the easy way is grab some white vinegar. So let me just reach here. This was not planned. This was impromptu. Put a dab of vinegar in. So while we're now moving on with the recipe, it can clean. So as long as we remember it's 30 to 35 minutes, I can bring down my menu from the top, bring up my cleaning. I'm going to say that it's a universal. Maybe I could have gone browning, but that'll do. I just need to sprinkle my beautiful Parmesan over the top gently. And then we literally get this in the oven. Now I'm going to lift it up and try and show you without making a mess. This is where it could come all unstuck. But look at that. There you go. Quiche Lorraine in your Thermomix in a minute or two. Oh, sorry, can't get that out your way. But look at that, so easy. So I'm gonna get this in the oven. I'll show you the final product. If this is not on your list of things you can do easily and simply, it's time to add it to it. Give it a go, and then you'll know from here forth you can make this with ease anytime you need something for your lunch, for your dinner, in your fridge, in your freezer. Anyway, take care, and I'll see you in the next video soon. Bye for now.